If you're an Airbnb host and you want to make your place stand out and exceed your guest expectations, watch this video because we've stayed in over 200 nights of Airbnbs over the last year in countries around the world, and we have a lot of experience to share with you.
We know that there are different levels of Airbnb hosts. We're really going to be providing reviews for typically the ones that are more on the super host level, guest favorites.
And most of the time we're looking at Airbnbs in a city or suburb environment. We're looking for just a comfortable place to live for a week or a month, sometimes 2 months. That is one thing that we often prefer longer stays. So we've found that a lot of Airbnb owners neglect what the needs are of a potential long-term tenant. And they give very minimal supplies for somebody who might be there for a longer stay.
We're going to give some tips based off different rooms, and then at the end, we'll go over some things that you could do to improve the overall experience. The kitchen. Please, all Airbnb hosts, add minimum half the basics. I'm talking about have some salt, have some pepper.
We always planned on doing at least some cooking in every Airbnb that we've gone to, and some have been very well equipped, but others had basically nothing, and we had to go out and buy some of our own pans, our own seasonings, even basic stuff like salt and pepper.
Tupperware. Like if an Airbnb has Tupperware, we get so excited because it's nice since we're going to be there for a while, or even if you're not and you're just there for a day or two and you cook something, to be able to have a place to store your food is really nice.
I actually get very excited when I see a brand new yellow sponge by the sink.
Yes.
Because if there's an old dirty sponge, we usually go out and just buy a brand new sponge for ourselves.
Other things that I love seeing in a kitchen are towels, like just kitchen towels. You'd be surprised how many times we go and there are no towels, no pot holders. So if you do make something, there's something to hold to prevent yourself from getting burned.
Other things that we really appreciated when we saw them, bottle openers, vegetable peelers, posters, placemats, just so that we could have a setup when we actually make our meal that we can make it feel comfortable and homey, which is the ideal guest experience at an Airbnb. Make sure there's always an ample supply of trash bags. You know, if we're taking out the trash and we're trying to keep your place clean, make sure there's a trash bag available for us to do that.
Bedroom. Something as simple as having 2 nightstands, one on each side, it makes a difference. We've been in places, including the one that we're currently at, that Nate's side has a bedstand, I don't. Or a nightstand. No, I don't have a nightstand. What's a bedstand? Whatever that is. I probably don't have that either.
We found it very common that we wouldn't have anywhere to put our luggage, our extra clothes. If we want to unpack for the week, we want to have, some clothes hangers that we can hang stuff up in, a nice closet or an armoire some places had that was really nice.
We've stayed and seen so many places that had like 2 or 3 hangers, no joke. That's not enough hangers, people. You need to give people hangers. If you want to make Nate's day, have the luggage folding thing that you can put the luggage on top of.
Yeah, the luggage rack is a nice to have. I mean, I like to just throw my bag on the bed.
No.
And then unpack from there, but it doesn't upset some people. No, it does upset some people.
No, PSA, do not put your luggage on the bed, people. Your luggage has dirt and germs. You're putting that all on the bed. That's like putting your shoes on the bed. No. Let's not do that, people.
Yeah, so I like when there's a luggage rack in the room because that means I won't get in trouble because I can use the luggage rack and unpack or keep our bag there. It's also really nice when the shelving has like higher shelves above the armoire because then we can put our luggage once it's empty into that kind of storage space and get it off the floor so we can move around comfortably. One of the places where we've seen a lack of hooks was in the bathroom. You need a hook to be able to hang your towel from. Speaking of towels, extra towels is nice. If you only have one laid out per person, what if they need a second one? It gets dirty, whatever, it gets like extra wet. Just provide an extra set of towels so that you don't have to be bothered by your guests. Another nice thing is having towels that are different colors because then you can differentiate.
And also don't just have the towel hooks, like have the towel bars because with the hook, they don't dry that quickly.
Yeah, I think just in general, having separate places for people sharing a room, they're going to want to put both of their things in these locations. And so being able to provide 2 locations for each bedroom that they can hang a towel or put a toiletry bag, it just is going to help there be less conflict or fighting for space within that bathroom.
We've been fighting?
I don't think so, but I think that would be common with a lot of people, just competing for that space.
And having a good full-length mirror anywhere in the house. I don't care. You can put it in the kitchen. I just have it somewhere. I know that would be weird, but put full-length mirror somewhere, because a lot of times most people are at Airbnbs on a vacation. So they want to look cute, they want to look at their outfit. These are some things that we don't really know where to put them, so we're just going to say put them somewhere in your Airbnb. One of them being a first aid kit. Fortunately, we haven't needed it. We carry our own Band-Aids and such, but when I have gone to Airbnbs and seen that they have a first aid kit, I automatically just feel taken care of.
And a fire extinguisher is also helpful, but fortunately we haven't needed that either. If you have physical keys, make sure you provide 2 sets, especially if there's going to be a potential group in your place. They may want to split up. Also, have a hook for those keys. Have a place that your stuff goes. If it's especially something that's important to you, and it's much easier to just keep track of the things that belong to the Airbnb if it all has its place. And when you're moving out and cleaning up after yourselves, like, okay, are the keys on the hook? Is the air conditioner control on the wall? Like, everything just has its place and you know if something's missing. Another thing that is very important, both for the guest and for the owner to have their stuff taken care of properly, is to have instructions for anything that your guest might use. Visual instructions are the best. Then it isn't susceptible to the language barrier of the guests that might be staying there. We've used washing machines, dishwashers, and a lot of times there's no instructions on how to use them properly. So I've often just looked up the user manual based on the model number from the machine, but I shouldn't have to go through that level of effort. Put it in your house rules or put it in a little instruction sheet next to the machine so we know how to operate.
And if not, someone may or may not open a washer when it is full of water and get water all over your floor and then have to figure out how to clean it. Not speaking of it from experience necessarily.
Speaking of cleaning, you should also have a mop or other cleaning supplies available. So we like to take care of the properties that we're at as well. We'll clean up after ourselves along the way, but we need the tools to be able to do that. Make sure you have extra toilet paper. All of those basic necessities are important to have anyway. You're going to need to supply them to your guests at some point, so just provide extra.
Please, please, please have a fan for people. It doesn't have to be a big fan. Just have a fan. Even if you have an AC, still have a fan. Staying anywhere is all about the experience. So here are some things that, in addition to everything we mentioned, can elevate the experience of your guests.
Have a welcome kit for your guests. This is really nice. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. We were always happy to see a bottle of water and on some days a local beer that was in the fridge.
I love that. For one Airbnb that we stayed at, we were there for New Year's and they had a bottle of champagne. It wasn't high quality, but it didn't have to be. It was just the fact that this person is like, oh, it's New Year's, they're going to be here, let me leave them a little bottle of something. That was very thoughtful.
Another great thing to provide your guest is a local guide or local recommendations for things to do or see in the area, restaurants, places to visit. So we love visiting these local areas and we'll do our own research, but if you're local and you can provide some inside information, we really appreciate that.
We've seen some people that have like a PDF. We have some people that will send you a very long message. We've had people in the Airbnb that have a map and they write out places in the area to visit. So you can take it whichever way works for you. We've also had some hosts provide us with names to local taxi companies that they recommend or local drivers. That has been really helpful because some places do not take Uber. It helped us feel safer.
Another nice thing is when a host uses local products or local businesses to supply, the soap or a little towel in the kitchen, just something that makes you realize that they're supporting their local businesses and it gives it like a nice local touch.
Yeah, we stayed at this one Airbnb and the soap was local and it was great because when we were out in the town, we were able to recognize the stores and we went in and we already felt like we had a connection. I always love going to an Airbnb that has real plants. Love me a good life plant. I do not love these. We see these everywhere, which these are, if you don't know, these are like the IKEA plants, which I get it. They look nice, they do. But after staying in one Airbnb to another, it's like a staple. Like every Airbnb has to have this. It doesn't. But if you're going to have this, like personalize it. I've seen some that have been painted different colors, the bases, or they add something else to make it a little bit more unique.
Yeah, I think a lot of Airbnb combinations end up looking like IKEA showrooms. Like, we understand IKEA is a great way to furnish an Airbnb at a low cost. Even if you do that, just try to add some personal touches. And especially this is where you can use those local shops, local businesses to give it a more personal, local flavor. So we've talked a lot about how you can make your guest's experience great. Now, unfortunately, you can't plan for everything. Sometimes things will go wrong. And it's very important in these cases to be accommodating, work with your guest, with them and not against them. Assume that they're not going to try and screw you over and just be understanding that the guest is going through that experience as well.
We have lost water, we've lost power. But when the Airbnb host is just understanding and says, you know what, I'm on it, keeps us updated, calls us, and if at all possible, depending on the severity, I've really appreciated when the Airbnb host will provide some sort of financial compensation without us asking.
I hope some of these tips were helpful for you. I know it was fun to go back and talk about all the Airbnbs that we've stayed in and kind of go over the pros and cons of all of them. If you have questions about what you think makes a good Airbnb or what was a good experience for us, you can always find us in the comments here on YouTube or on Instagram at Unlocked Vistas. Like the video, please, and subscribe to the channel for more content about travel and our adventures out in the world.
And a big thank you to all of you Airbnb hosts. Thank you so much for all that you have done to help us have a wonderful year of travel. We've also had some guests. We're the guests.
And we've also seen what are we doing?
We're wrapping up.
I wish I were listening when you were talking.
That would have been great.